and more beyond the environmental domain, is penetrating in other domain. Very interesting presentation in specific domain area, in particular in transports. And we start to see emerging more and more applications. And as you know, the applications are the way to show the benefits. So when infrastructure starts to operate, application can be developed, and then it will be more easy to demonstrate the benefit of Inspire. The last point that I took from the presentation, that there is a growing interest of the commissions, in particular of DG Connect, that was so far not really deeply involved. The presence of the Director General and the word that he said in the opening plenary, when he said that Inspire is as a center of the digital transformation in the government, is demonstrating that there is an increasing awareness about the importance of what we are doing. As far concerns the conference, everybody of us was not able to attend all the session, but everybody of us has a talk with friends. And the feedback that I have, that everybody is happy with the conference this year. There are clearly suggestions for new format, and my colleague will probably address some of them. And so far, I think that the question is, should we continue to have this conference in the future? There is a value to have an annual conference of Inspire, and this is something that maybe I will ask the panelists to address and to tell us if there is a value to continue. So I will ask Mark to start expressing your view.
Thank you, Alessandro. So of course, I think we have to continue, especially because I will never have to organize again a conference. So there is two levels. First, for what was stronger during that week is open data. On during the last session, the colleague of North Rhine-Westphalia shows that as a conclusion. Open data is a key of Inspire. That is, all the thing we are doing is dedicated to give data for reuse, and if they are locked by licenses and so on, or complication, we miss the promise. The second point is we are the same. Not only because the speech of the State Secretary of German Federal Ministry of Interior on the speech of my director could be the same, but two for the session dedicated to regional level. We saw together that in Valencia, in Azores, or in Brittany, they are facing to the same benefits, to the same issues, they got the same benefits, they have the same needs. And for a European point of view, I think it is very important to see that, in fact, we are not so different that we usually think. If you reverse it, that means that you are not alone. There is always someone facing the same problem you have, or having the same need of a benefits you have in your region or in your country, to be able to go further in its own. So I think the conclusion of Fabrice Frung during the plenary for Brittany is really interesting. We need to imagine something to be able to share best practices, maybe not only on the national level, but at the regional level along the European Union. One asked, because we have 4 pillars to organize that conference, and one is innovation. So yes. Innovation is not, in my mind, an upgrade. Innovation is something strong, it is a revolution. And revolutions are uncomfortable. But that revolution is to be managed by you and by us. So two things that strikes me. That first, innovation are not only on techniques. On my own point of view, the best innovation are not only techniques and are just supported by techniques. And Mr. Hilmar von Lożewski talked in his last part of the speech that he hopes in 10 years to have a link between spatial data sets and geosocial data sets. That is, that link will have to be made to manage territories from a human point of view, not only for water or pollution or traffic, but just managing people to make their life better. And that, I think it will be really important to be able to go out the spatial, the geometry, the attributes to address the human data. The second innovation I see is to open the door to algorithms. I saw in many presentations that week, or the workshop in Kehl, the world of algorithms in a separated box from the world of spatial data. And I've talked about artificial intelligence, some others talked about blockchains, and I think we have to do something just to survive. Because, especially for SMEs, but Mario Caetano said for national mapping agencies too, we have to manage relationship with people doing things on that two algorithms, but probably on many others. And the common point of that two innovations, dear colleagues, is we have to go out of the box of Inspire community, because at one moment the Inspire community is surrounded by boundaries, and people we need are outside of that boundaries. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I will leave now the floor to Stefan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've been asked to express an overview on what I would consider the usage side, what happened around the usage side, from the user's perspective related to this conference. And I would like to give a positive note here. I see a lot of growth. I see growth in volume, in diversity, in integration, in quality, in innovation. I would like to explain this briefly along 3 lines: a technical line, a content line, and a cooperation line. On the technical line, we had a lot of presentations which were showing us the evolving technologies which are related with Inspire, linked data, other semantic issues, technologies of very different areas, Internet of Things technology, name it. We see more services, we see more service quality, we see a growth of digital infrastructures which go beyond Inspire and help us to integrate technologies. Technologies are integrating. On the content, what is happening there, I see, since we are actually on the way already of integrating communities, so the motto here, thinking out of the box, I think we managed to a decent degree, at least here in the conference, to bring in people from other communities already. So that motto seemed to be quite relevant, and we see new communities developing new products, and it goes, from our perspective, beyond environmental needs. But we, as it was also explained during the conference, we also have been focusing ourselves on our environmental needs. So from the broad approach to Inspire, I think we are getting clearer on the specific environmental needs, also to improve the quality of the data content. On the cooperation side, what is happening, I mean, what we're seeing here, great network, people meet, the community is evolving, and we see new people coming into that network. That is not enough. We would like to also encourage you, also outside this conference, to use the opportunities to give us feedback about these developments around Inspire. We need those feedback. We have certain tools like the clusters on Inspire, but we have also many other tools, social media, various tools. So please, from a user perspective, give us feedback how we should evolve our things, our services. And then it was already touched on, I think the Inspire and the things around are, on the usage side, getting more politically relevant, or they need to get more politically relevant. We're seeing more strategies being explained. We saw a set of presentations with interesting strategies. We heard a word like geo-governance. So let's not forget about that. If we want to move the usage in our community, we have to look into strategies and into these overarching topics. So far from my side.
Thank you, Stefan. This means that your word have been appreciated. Frederick, you are the honor to be the last saying something about your experience.
Thank you, Alessandro. I've been asked to mention the organizational aspects of this conference. It has been the first time that the Inspire conference has been organized by 5 partners. It has taken place at 2 locations. The 5 partners were 2 ministries of the central governments, the French Ministry of Environment and the German Federal Ministry of Interior. 2 partners at the regional level, la Région Grand Est in France and the state of Baden-Württemberg, and last but not least, the Commission services. And you might be wondering whether this kind of distribution of work could function. For me, it was a great experience, and I can highly recommend it to future conferences, to future organizers. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank all partners and all those involved in the organization, such as speakers and moderators, for the excellent contributions. The feedback. The feedback we have had so far was quite positive, in particular with regard to the workshops. It might be an idea for future conferences to focus more on small formats that encourage vivid interaction between participants. We had the workshops were such a format, but also the speed presentations we had on Wednesday morning and this morning. Let me shortly touch upon another aspect. In my view, the conference is a valuable platform for dialogue between all stakeholders. And by saying this, I would like to join Mark in the judgment that we should continue this exercise. Whether in the same format, that's another question. In my view, we, the public sector, should reach out to geoinformation business more intensively, as we need their input in order to implement Inspire properly and in a more dynamic way, and to serve the needs of end users. Lastly, a last word on organization. After this final session, you are cordially invited to a farewell drink outside in the lobby.
Thank you, Frederick. The word that has been more mentioned during the conference is cooperation. So Inspire, since the beginning, has been co-designed between the Commission and the Member States. It's continued to be implemented in cooperation between the Commission and Member States. And so cooperation is the key, and then is allowing me to ask Ugo to take my duties, because I have to leave. And I would like to profit also to thank the organizer, the French and the German organizer, for the very professional organization, including the lunch that they had the opportunity to have on the first day. And I wish you really a successful implementation of the directive now.
After the moderator comes the animator. Have you noticed that he always does that to me? Remember last year? Have a safe trip home, Al. Well, there's not much of intelligence that I can add to all these wise statements. I think you can all make up your own opinion. Again, I personally have learned a lot from you. There are still a lot of issues that we need to consider, But one thing is obvious, there is no turning back. When I arrived here, I was thinking about this beautiful team that I think it was Mark, you, that suggested thinking out of the box. And I said, bloody hell, thinking out of the box, I don't even know where the box is. But after having witnessed in these sessions on thinking out of the box, the speed presentations, the many ideas that we have, it's quite clear that we have a core of a process, the 5 Inspire principles around we are building and that we continue to pursue. That it is not easy to implement, that there are issues with licensing, with data models, with adaptions, whatever. One thing is quite clear, we are all striving towards the real objectives of Inspire, the 5 principles, sharing data, sharing information and doing it efficiently for the benefit of society, and we are fully doing this in the context also of everything which is e-government and all the benefits that we can reap from that. So I must thank you again from the Commission for all your presence here, for the magnificent discussions that we had. Whom should I not forget in my thanks? The people with whom I had the pleasure to work in preparing this conference. And I'm thinking of Karen from the JRC, my partner in crime since many years for this conference. A little applause for Karen. And then, of course, my friends, the ladies from Germany, Janet, Anja, Annie, where are they? They are all here. They really organized this thing physically. And our friends from France with all their innovative ideas, without any doubt. So after these words of thanks, also, by the way, to our sponsors, because otherwise the finances of this conference would not have made it to what we want it to be, in perfect balance, as everything we do in the European Commission, obviously. And the sponsors. I already mentioned the sponsors and your own contributions. Now, that concludes basically this conference. Now, Mark said, thankfully I don't have to organize another conference anymore. We already see it coming. There's going to be a conference next year, and I will have the pleasure to work again with a great group of people to prepare the next conference. And I can tell you one thing. There are already rumors about where that conference is going to take place. But you know very well, there are many types of news these days. Fake news. Sometimes we are hacked, and then things appear on the web and you say, no, this is not the truth. So now time has come to really disclose the truth. And one thing, I can already lift a tip of the veil, so to say. I was born in a European city where the citizens of that city are extremely modest, a bit like me, so to say. And what we always say about the other people who are not living in that city is, I am from that city, and they are living on the parking place. Some of you, and I hear the applause, already know where I come from, not everybody. So please, could you now lift the complete veil, people of our technical service, and tell us where and who is going to be involved in next year's conference? With sound and music, thank you.
all set to go now. The Dutch Ministry of Infrastructure and Environment and the Flemish government are happy to invite you to the next Inspire conference. And maybe you will win the golden pineapple. We're looking forward to meeting you all in Antwerp in September 2018.
That was great. I hadn't seen it. I did that on purpose because they told me, Hugo, you're going to be surprised, and I was. And I think you also enjoyed this. Talking about enjoying it, I hope you will all enjoy a safe trip home. And before enjoying that safe trip home, let's join us for the drink so kindly offered by our co-organizers here. See you next year in Antwerp, my town, the greatest town.